When was the last time you took a leap of faith, trusting that everything is going to work out? Do you crave growth, or are you merely content with the status quo? If you want more out of your life, out of your career, and out of your relationships, you are in the right place. Take the leap and discover how to create a life by design rather than living it by default. Real success starts with you. Now here's your host, Colleen Biggs.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Take the Leap. I am your host, as always, Colleen Biggs, and every week I bring you some fantastic guests from all over the globe in all different industries to bring you the nuggets and the teachings and the wisdom and the knowledge and the education that you need to have a really wonderful life. We're talking about having the type of life where you are enjoy every day when the relationships that you're building, that you are enjoy every day with the businesses that you're building and the people that you're surrounding yourself with. And today is not going to be any different. We have Tracy Coenen with us today, and we're going to be talking about financial shenanigans. I'm really excited about this topic, and I can't wait to jump into it with her. But before we do, I really want to thank our sponsor of today's show, Alley Spine Center in Scottsdale, Arizona. What sets their office apart from other offices is their focus and expertise in treating degenerative spinal conditions, including disc disease, bulging herniated discs, spinal stenosis, neuropathy, sciatica, pain, tingling, and numbness in the arms and legs and feet, as well as severe and chronic neck pain and headaches. We specialize in corrective care, not just the treatment of symptoms with the physical medicine modalities. In many cases, pre and post images are used to help determine the structural improvements of the spine. I have been there. I love them. They have helped me get out of pain with my neck from previous injuries that were 30 years ago. They are amazing. And he does so much teaching online on YouTube. So be sure you reach out to Alley Spine Center at 480-809-4700 and be sure to visit them at allyspinecenter.com. All right. Now, getting back to the beautiful Tracy, and I say that because she has strikingly beautiful red hair. So for those of you that are listening to this podcast and you haven't yet jumped over to my Facebook group, go ahead to Colleen Biggs. It's my own page. I'm in the blue shirt. You can see all 28 people in my family is my background. That is me. And you will be able to see the beautiful Tracy as she really showed up for today's interview. Now, she's a forensic accountant and a fraud investigator. So I was like, wait, what? This is going to be the best conversation today because I love learning about other people and what they do and how we can relate that to our lives. So that's why financial shenanigans is what we're talking about today. And Tracy's been investigating fraud for more than 25 years. I bet she's seen a lot. So we're going to get some of those stories today. But she didn't always want to be a forensic accountant. With a dream of one day being a prison warden, don't know many girls that want to grow up to be one of those, but we're going to find out more about that. Tracy went to Marquette University in Milwaukee, Wisconsin to get a criminology degree. A class on financial crime investigations reminded her how much she loved the Encyclopedia Brown books as a kid. I had those too. We must be in the same age bracket. She continued her criminology degree, but added accounting and economic courses so she could sit for the CPA exam. And here Tracy is finding money in cases of corporate fraud, high net worth divorce, and other financial shenanigans. Tracy, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. Shenanigans is just the right word, isn't it?
It is. It really is. Maybe greed, power, a lot of this other stuff, control goes into that. But shenanigans is like the way to sprinkle in the word of really what happens when it comes to financial. So you wanted to be a prison warden. Let's just wait. Let's just back up to that. Like you're a child, who are you surrounded with in your family that was someone a prison warden? How did you watch movies as a child and you were intrigued by it? What was going on in your circle of influence that you wanted to be a prison warden?
When I was in high school, I became interested in watching documentaries on prisons. And it was just a topic that really fascinated me. I was really drawn in by the social constructs behind the prison walls. I was really interested in the concept of punishment versus rehabilitation. And I just really took a liking to it. And so when I was deciding where I was going to go to college, what I was going to major in, I saw that criminology was a major and there were courses you had to take that involved prisons. I said, my gosh, I feel like that is what I am called to do. And I started researching what kind of careers I could have with a criminology degree. And prison warden is something that just drew me in. I thought, gosh, I could be such an agent for positive change in an industry, the prison industry, which is so negative and, has such a bad reputation. I really felt like I could take my interests and I could do good in the world at the same time.
Yeah. So that was something you had a dream of always being, but did you ever become a prison warden?
I did not. The closest I came was I was a probation officer for a year after I got done with my bachelor's degree. So I did work in the criminal justice system, saw things up close, had my impressions of all of it really rocked, because you come into a job like a probation officer feeling like a social worker. This is the best way I can explain it. I walked in the doors feeling like a social worker. And after a year, I walked out feeling like a corrections officer. I walked in as a 23-year-old thinking I was going to help people who were being given a second chance and getting probation instead of going to prison. And then there were really harsh realities with it, where by the end, it was like, you have a certain amount of time on paper. I am here to watch you and make sure you don't violate the rules. We can get along just fine. Next.
Yeah. I love that side of you at 23 years old. And I think it still exists in so many of us today, and in you as well, which is we want good for others. We want others to consistently become them best selves. And most of the time, we want it more than they do. They don't want it. Right. So we're holding on to this for them. And then you quickly realize that's just a dream. That I'm holding on for them and it's never going to come true. And now I just got to get down to the black and white and do my job.
Right. I had people who were, doing a year or two of probation for whatever their crime was. And I was saying to myself, these individuals need resources. They don't know how to get the services they need. And I could really connect them with those services. And so I will never forget this one guy, 25 years old, could not read. So he was saying, I can't do any job other than dealing drugs because I can't read. And I said, fantastic. I've got a program I can send you to for adults who don't know how to read. Oh, no, people make fun of me. Nope, there's no kids there. There's no one there that'll make fun of you. Everyone there is in the same boat as you. They have a fantastic program for adult learners who don't know how to read. And if you can't get there on your own, I can slip you some bus tickets to make sure that you can get there and back every week to do it. Will you do it? He said, absolutely not.
Mm. So sad. I know you want it so bad for them, and you can see the future and the changes that it's going to make in them, but they just can't see it for themselves, or they're just refusing to want to change. And there are people like that out there, right? Okay. So now you're 23, you come out going in hopeful as like a social worker, want to change the world, help every prisoner out there, that's come into your fold on probation. You walk out as a correctional officer. It changes your view.
Absolutely.
Completely. So now what do you do?
Well, I was finishing up an MBA at the time, and I needed the courses through that MBA program to be able to sit for that CPA exam that you mentioned before.
Yeah.
And so I finished up my MBA. I sat for the CPA exam. I passed it, and I became an accountant, which eventually in a couple of years morphed into being that forensic accountant that I had been dreaming of becoming ever since that college course. So that's sort of the progression. It's not fancy. It's not complicated. Once the MBA was done, I went right into the career that I'm in now.
So you find money. You're a money hunter.
I do find money. I find that's the best way to describe what a forensic accountant is, because not everyone has heard the phrase forensic accountant before. I do fraud investigations, and some of that is on the corporate side for companies that have executive stealing, or where companies are fighting over contracts gone bad and someone has to sort out the money of it. And some of it is on the personal side. So I work with people who are getting divorced, who have concerns about where the money has gone, or who are wealthy and need to know what they've been spending, because that is going to play a part in how much child support or spousal support is paid. Or one of the spouses in a case like that with wealthy people, they're just concerned that money has gone missing. Has my spouse hidden money somewhere that I don't know about?
I had a friend that actually went through that. And she didn't realize what her husband was spending money on. She just knew that he did a lot of things in business, but didn't realize what it was until she decided once her kids were grown in their 20s that she was going to get divorced after 25 years because she was extremely unhappy, married to an alcoholic, excessive gambler, and a whole bunch of other things she found out once she started going through the divorce. So it's amazing to me how much people don't know about the other spouse or what's happening, in those relationships. It's crazy.
Well, I can tell you it's actually very, very common. And I always tell people, do not be ashamed if this is you. If you don't know what's been going on with the money in your marriage, don't be ashamed. Because in the vast majority of marriages, there is one spouse who takes care of the money and the other spouse remains completely hands off. And it makes sense because you trust your spouse. You probably wouldn't have married them if you didn't trust them. Yeah. And so we do a division of duties. One person mows the lawn, the other person drops the kids off at school in the morning. One person picks the kids up in the afternoon. The other person is responsible for managing the family budget. It's just how it is in marriage many times. So it's nothing to be ashamed of if you don't know what's been going on with the money. But if you're getting divorced, it is the time to start finding out.
Absolutely. So what are some of your favorite clients that you've worked with? And you don't have to obviously divulge who that client is, but how, as you were learning and growing through and working up the ranks through becoming this forensic accountant, how did that look for you? Where did you really start putting your effort? And what were your clients that you were really attracted to, like that ideal person that you really enjoyed helping them get to a point, whether it be fighting over contracts, fraud within corporate America, or in high net worth divorces? What was your end game in all of that for you, and where the outcome went, and how you walk away feeling like I did good, with this?
When I started my firm 23 years ago, I wanted to do the whole process of forensic accounting differently. I did not want to do hourly fees, which is what most attorneys and accountants do. I started right away out of the gates doing fixed fees. So what's the project? Here's how much it's going to cost you. What I found was that people who are involved in divorce or in fraud cases, they spend all sorts of money on legal fees and expert fees. And I think one of the most stressful things to them is waiting for that bill to come every month and not knowing how much it's going to be. So I wanted to change that for them. We're going to define what you need me to do for you, and here's going to be your price. And that price will never change unless you change your mind about what you want me to do. So that was the number one thing I went into this business with. My clients are attorneys on behalf of their clients. And so over time, I have evolved the kind of attorneys that I like to work with. Mm-hmm. And what I find is they are the attorneys who respect my expertise and who trust me to do the right work and come to the right conclusions. The ones who are want to meddle in my work or tell me how to do my work, that's not such a good fit for me. When it comes down to the end user, the attorney's client, who is also my client,
right?
I like to work on cases where that person or company is willing to provide me information, interactive in the process, and someone with a situation where I know I can help you. So if you were getting divorced, Colleen, and you said, I'm concerned about the money, and we kind of walked through why you were concerned, and I maybe did some preliminary looking at some of your financial documents, and I really thought you didn't have a leg to stand on, I would be honest with you and say, Colleen, it's going to cost you $10,000 to $15,000 to get me involved, and I'd like to be able to help you, but I'm not really seeing any avenues for us here. I'd hate to have you spend your money when we're not going to make any headway. So I want to be able to help a client who has an issue that I can get some mileage with and really help them resolve.
Yeah, I like that. And there's too many, again, financial shenanigans out there of individuals that will take on your case and work with you, knowing that you don't have a leg to stand on, but they're going to get paid. And that's financial shenanigans right there. That's fraud. And so it's great that,
That's also a problem with the hourly billing model is if I'm billing you by the hour, I have an incentive to put in extra hours on your case, whether it's warranted or not. Mm-hmm. Now, I truly believe that most of my colleagues in this industry are honest and don't bill hours just to make a buck off of you, but there is that risk. And so I took that risk away by saying, let's do a fixed fee. You know exactly what I'm going to be doing and exactly how much it's going to cost. And how much time it takes is my problem. I actually have an incentive to be more efficient with my time and get this done, right?
Yeah. Absolutely. Now, is this something where an individual would need to work with you and your firm individually? And what levels do you work with individuals so that the listeners kind of have an idea? You know, we have listeners that are starting up businesses in corporate America, own large businesses. All of our listeners are really, all over the place, attorneys, doctors. So what would you say is, the ideal client that you work with and who are they from, the bottom to the top in your firm?
My firm is a firm of one. So I've been solo for 23 years.
Nice.
And my clients, what you see is what you get. So if you want a team on your case, that's not me. But when you want the really experienced expert, you want to know that that's the person who's looking at your stuff, that's me. The divorces that I work on are typically higher net worth people. So when there is millions of dollars at stake, that's typically when I get involved. And I probably work on about 5 divorces a year. So I have, as I mentioned, the other fraud cases, but in the divorce space, probably only about 5 divorce cases a year. And last year, I was really thinking about the impact that I have or don't have in the divorce space, because I get calls on a daily basis from average people saying, I'm worried that my spouse is hiding money. We're getting divorced. Can you help me? And quite frankly, it's too expensive for them. It's probably not worth it to hire a forensic accountant. So I came up with the concept for the Divorce Money Guide, which is some do-it-yourself forensic accounting for people that could help those average people who need to know, where do I look? How do I do it? What can I find? But who don't need to spend thousands and thousands of dollars on a forensic accountant.
Yeah, that makes total sense. So you're really able to serve a wide range of individuals going through divorce all the way through to corporate fraud, really at all levels. You're able to assist companies and individuals at this
Absolutely.
point.
I have the big cases. I have the small cases. And now I have sort of the self-help space where, I'm putting a tool out there for someone to use on their own with some options, group coaching and things like that. If you do need a little bit of, one-on-one assistance and things like that. But as my business evolves, because we don't want to do the same thing for 25 years.
Yeah.
It's really gratifying to be able to help a larger number of people with a tool like this.
Yeah. Yeah. Having those additional resources are essential because, I've done workshops in the past and have worked one-on-one with individuals and taught them here's the 4 steps you need to take to build business credit in your business, not personal, not on your personal side. Let's not talk about getting credit cards personally. You're building a business, so you have to build business credit within your business. This is how you do it. Well, I couldn't possibly go one by one. I teach everyone how to do that. So I put together a workshop, put it out there, and it's like, hey, if you want to go learn how to build credit, you can go buy that course for like $27 or $47, and then you can just figure out it's step by step. Here are the 4 steps. Just go start applying it, and then you will build business credit. It's that simple. It's not, like you're saying, there's some pieces out there that are kind of redundant and can be, can be executed over and over and over again the same way for people going through a divorce, right? And so having that resource at their fingertips is huge, because not everyone wants to pay thousands of dollars to, work one-on-one with someone when they're at a level that they don't need to do that. They're just starting a business, like in my case, and they just need to learn, how do I build business credit? Just tell me how to do it. Here you go. Go learn how to do it. It takes no time off my, plate, which is exactly what you're doing. You're building it so that they don't have to spend that money, and they can just go in and they can learn and have the resources that they need at their fingertips to feel empowered to know what to do. And I think that's the crucial piece here is financial shenanigans are all over the place. I mean, all over the place. But having control and being responsible and being empowered to know what to look for, to know how to detour those in the future, or I don't know. For me, we have a very open relationship, my spouse and I do, when it comes to money. We feel like it's one of the most important conversations that we can have. Faith, money, and family were the biggest conversations we had before we got married. And I think those are key to be in alignment with. And so we never leave the other person out of the dark on finances, because it's crucially important that the other person know in case someone were to pass away instantly.
Well, that's right? Actually a talking point that I use with people that I'm talking to who are, they might see the divorce money guide and say, hey, wait, I'm getting married. Is there something I can do before I get married to head off the problems? And one of the things that I say is you need to have the conversations early on. You need to stay informed throughout the marriage, have a weekly check-in about the money. And by having regular, consistent weekly check-ins, you are actually making the money topic less scary, less of a big deal. It becomes routine that you are keeping those lines of communication open. So you're doing it right, Colleen.
Yeah, I love that, Tracy. So if you guys go to fraudcoach.com, you're going to see the beautiful Tracy with her gorgeous red hair on the website. What do you want them to do when they get there? Fraudcoach.com. What do we do when we get to that website?
Well, I'll tell you what, when you get to fraudcoach.com, you're going to see that I talk about things like, is your spouse hiding money? And so it's very focused on helping people who are in divorce or contemplating divorce and who want to know what has been going on with the money. If you go to fraudcoach.com and go to the very top of the page, there's a link there for a red flag assessment. Here's the deal. If you have seen some signs, some weird things in your marriage regarding the money, but you're not sure if you should be concerned about them or not, you can take that assessment and I'll tell you how likely it is that you have financial fraud in your marriage.
It's just a sad topic. I hate to hear it.
Well, it's sad, but I'll tell you what, it can be very empowering. I am incredibly sorry for people who are going through divorce, who are potentially getting screwed financially, but the ability to bring knowledge to them, help empower them, help them feel better about their participation in the process, help them get some comfort that they're getting the money that they're supposed to be getting when that divorce is final. I love that piece of my work.
Yeah. So there's really two pieces here. So if you're, dealing with contract fallouts, I've had that with ex-partner business fallout. That was awesome. Attorneys involved and all. So if you're in that type of situation or with a partnership in a business and you feel like possibly that person could be siphoning money or whatever it is, or married, or you own a corporation and you feel like one of your executives could be siphoning money out of your business, these are all flags that you need to go to fraudcoach.com to be able to really start the conversation with Tracy to figure out what is it that you need to do from this point forward. But I love that you said, if you think possibly, I don't know, my husband and I, everything's fine, but I think maybe there could be something going on, and there's that little alarm that keeps going off for any of the individuals I just talked about, go to fraudcoach.com and take that red flag assessment and see if it's happening. And then that way you can deter it earlier than later when sometimes it's so late in the game. Now it's just this volcano that's erupted, and but deterring that early is really important. And Tracy, what else would you say that you want to leave our listeners with on what you've seen in financial shenanigans? Because I love it.
trust your gut. If it feels bad to you, trust your gut. Our intuition is usually pretty good about that stuff. And I never have a client who says, gee, I figured out that some money was missing far too soon, right? Everyone says, I figured it out far too late. I wish I had been paying attention to some of these signs. I thought that was odd when I saw it, when I heard it, but I really didn't follow up on it. So trust your gut and take some steps to gather information.
Yeah, absolutely. It helps you avoid the financial shenanigans that could be going on. And that's like being proactive. So I love that, Tracy. Listen to your gut. Ladies and gentlemen, we talk about it all the time on this show. And remember, you're the only you that's ever been. You're the only you that's ever going to be. You've got to take responsibility and step up to take action in the things in your life that you want to see change. If you're not willing to do that and you find yourself on the opposite end of that, where you are now in a whole mess of financial shenanigans, then, I want you to ask yourself, at what point am I willing, like we go all the way back to the very beginning of this podcast when Tracy said, I went in there wanting them to change when I was working as a probation officer. They didn't want to change. You have to be the one that wants to change. You have to be the one that steps up to take action, to listen to the red flags, to listen to your gut. You're the only one that can do that. You're the only you. That's it. So it's your responsibility. And I hope what we said today rang clear to you. If you feel, I think there might be something going on, go to fraudcoach.com. It's the best place to reach Tracy so you can connect with her there. And Tracy, thanks for being on the show. It was really an awesome conversation.
Yeah, it was great. Thank you.
It was an awesome conversation. I could talk to you for hours and just learn all about your stories and just everyone that you've met and what you've been through. It's a thrilling life. Thank you for sharing that today with our listeners. And to all of you, don't forget, until next time, make it a great day. Be you and be strong. Until next time, bye-bye. Bye-bye for now, everybody.
We hope you enjoyed our show today, as our guests shared their secrets on designing their life by taking the necessary leaps to expand their influence and attract the right people and clients into their lives. To start these easy steps for yourself, be sure to visit www.colleenbiggs.net/freebies to download the 7 ways to increase your exposure today.